Hey, y'all. Happy New Year. I know I'm about 2 weeks late, but I choose to think I'm right on time. I've had some very busy and exciting days, and I'm hoping that these first 2 weeks, can you believe it? We're already over, we're like 2 weeks and 2 days into 2022. I hope that it has been treating you kindly, that in spite of all that may be going on around us, this swirl of bullshit that seems to never cease, that you find joy every day, that you find some joy and some beauty. So, how is everyone? Posting, I had to pull rollers out of my hair, so it's not even combed. I didn't realize what time it was because right now I'm editing a book on relationships from a friend of mine that has come on the show. She's the lady who came up with the Build a Man game. She's written several books, and this one is on a relationship, and it has to do with getting involved in a relationship with someone who had a lot of baggage in his life, and how they have made the decision that they love each other enough that they're willing to work through all of his baggage, and while maybe awakening some things in her and in her life that she may not have dealt with, how they chose love to they love each other enough, and they chose love so that they decided that failure was not an option in this situation, and that they were going to stay. They chose love so they could stay in this relationship, and both of them how both of them have grown. And she's freely sharing her story and difficult times. Her name is Uganda the Goddess Reed. And she had, in one of her books, told her story, her journey. And I tell you, Hajakanda, I tell you that her story is quite amazing when she talks about her childhood, talks about the abuse, I think from a stepfather, talks about this man and how he treated her mother, how he treated the children. I actually, when she sent that one over to me about a year or two ago and asked me to go through that one, I actually cried because it was difficult for me to believe that this could happen to such a beautiful, beautiful spirit, to such a gentle and loving soul. Because I naively thought that everyone had loving parents, that they had a mother and a father in the house, which I was blessed to have, that they actually stayed together until death us do part. And I naively thought that everyone had that kind of life. Everyone had that kind of love and support in their families. And it wasn't until I began interning in a halfway house in Hartford, Connecticut, that I began to work with children who had been put out of their homes because their mothers didn't want them. And they didn't want them because of their feelings for the fathers. That has always given me pause. I don't know how any woman can carry a baby and have that kind of bond and attachment and then just let it go. So that's what I've been doing today. And I actually am about a day or two behind, because I don't know, did any of you feel sort of tired or worn out the last few days? I really felt my body kind of crash, like as if I was being forced to lay down and take some rest. And because I wake up very early in the morning. My body clock just seems to wake up at 4 a.m., which is the time. Instead of fighting it, I just wake up and I begin to say my prayers and for the day. I make my affirmation that this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it, and that this is the most wonderful day of my life, and that something wonderful is happening to and for me right now. And this wonderful feeling will carry on throughout the day. I make that affirmation every day because, as we can see when we look at the news, and I do look at the news, MSNBC is my favorite. So there's a block of presenters that I do watch because I feel as if they are delivering the truth to me, because it's important that we keep up with as much as we can about what is going on in our country. We have heard recently about phony Republican electors. We know about them creating documents and signing off on some. I believe I read that some of the documents weren't signed, but proclaiming themselves to be the electors in Michigan, Nevada, a few other states. I was born and reared in Nevada, and I am so embarrassed by what I'm finding out about what's going on in the state. The best thing to come out of the state was Senator Harry Reid, who actually convinced President Obama to run. So anyway, we see that these people created false documents and signed off on them, proclaiming that they were the official electors for the state. And according to the Secretary of State of Michigan, she said she didn't know if this was true, but that she had been told that one of the electors said that they received this information directly from the Orange Menace's campaign. And I guess I need to, at this point, say this is for entertainment purposes only. YouTube, the opinions that I speak are my very own. So, there you have it, that they were getting information directly from the Trump campaign to do this. And here he is. Zaddy is back out there on the holding his parties, his rallies, talking about voter and election integrity, and yet all of the stank shit that's being done is being done by his people and his party. I mean, all of the people who voted illegally that they have sussed out so far have been, excuse me, have been Trump voters. They found no kind of illegal voting from Democrats. So he's still out there pushing the lie that it was rigged, it was a fraud. And now he's even taking it one step further. He's saying that white people aren't being given the vaccine because Black people and other people of color have been given preference. Now, the reason I find, there's a number of reasons that is total bullshit. First of all, if his monkey ass had acknowledged that we had a pandemic when he was in office and had encouraged people to take care of themselves, and when vaccines became available to take them, we might not have lost 600,000 plus souls within his reign of terror. The other reason that it's appalling is that standing right behind him and strategically placed were the coons calling themselves Blacks for Trump. Now, he's just made this racist ass comment, and y'all's asses are standing back there holding up signs saying Blacks for Trump. I don't know if he got paid to do that shit. But I would say to you that you some sellout coon ass MFs, and that I was Harriet Tubman and I was taking people to freedom, and your asses were on the team and wanted to turn back. I'd have to shoot you. I would kill you. And they were strategically placed because he wants to send a signal that but you know, more than there are people who support it, are Black people who support it. You can go ahead and do that. I don't even bother to ask them why, because all I've ever heard from any of them has been talking points or little bits of information about what he's done for us. I'll get back to that later, because I'm also sick of that argument about what somebody's doing for us when we are brilliant and we are perfectly capable of doing something for ourselves. But anyway, so he's out now. He's creating more division by telling white people who are already enraged and filled with hate and watching far too much Fox News, who have bought into this great replacement theory that has been floating around, and whose hatred and anger for others who aren't white is what has attached them to him. He's again playing to their fears and setting himself up for a run in 2024. Now, if I were to look in, I don't see that he will be able to run. I really don't. I think that he's feeling a bit more confident because of all the gerrymandering, all of the restrictive voting rights and voting suppression laws that are being passed in the states, particularly the swing states that he lost, and how some states, in particular, we have here in Georgia, who are putting in even more restrictions. And I'm wondering if there's any way that we can, as citizens, just as though those 11 citizens are suing to keep Madison Cawthorn from running again or holding office ever again. I'm wondering if there's something we can do in the state of Georgia to challenge these suppression laws that are being put out there, and the way they're cutting up the districts with surgical precision so that Republicans receive the benefit. I mean, they're even thinking about, since they don't want no more drop boxes, there are little towns all around this state where people can go to one place, and I think it's Lincoln County, and have a drop box, and they're thinking of removing those. Now, Zaddy said during his little pep talk that we're going to have to go back to the good old-fashioned way and vote in person. Okay. I don't have a problem voting in person. And my prayer is that Black and brown and Asian people will, instead of whining and feeling defeated, will rally and come up so strong that there is nothing, no trick that the Republicans have attempted to put in place works. Because on the opposite end of that, it affects their voters too. The elderly grandpas and grandmas and great memas and great granddaddies and stuff who don't have the energy to stand in line. Now, it could actually hurt them more. And what we are really faced with is something that no one is really talking about. It kind of popped up a few times during his time in office, and that was that white old men will no longer be the majority. Not just white men, white people will no longer be the majority of the rulers of this nation, which is why they're labeling it the Great Replacement. That the numbers are being diminished in the white population while they're on the rise within Black and brown and Asian communities. And I think we are dealing with a bunch of frightened, especially those that are calling themselves senators and representatives and judges, et cetera, those that are holding office and have the power to make a difference. I think what we are finding are a bunch of very frightened human beings because they must feel or have a clue about how they've used or abused their power. So they are very concerned that they may not be leading this country. I think I'll read some of your comments while I think of the next place I want to go with this. I really just wanted to come on and chat with y'all because what the hell did I just do? Child, I don't know what I just did with the chat. Oh my God. Oh, let me see. Oh no, for some reason I seem to have lost all of you all. Here's what I'm going to do. If you can hear me, I am going to, I don't know what happened. You know, something weird has been happening with this laptop, and I'm not going to accept that this has, oh, I see what happened. Let's see, comments. That's where I need to go, right? There we are. See, you learn something every day. I had pushed one of these buttons that has banners and brand and private. Oh my, I have to explore StreamYard. So let's read some of the comments so that I can move on to the next thing. Okay, and first I do want to greet all of you. I want to greet Phyllis and Sharon Granger, Doreen Arnold, Jaconda. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And of course, my lovely Carter Mancy Mesquite, who let me know that she missed me last night when we were watching Johnny and Becca from the House of Normand and Jen from Jen Len Tarot and their reading last night. All right, so Electric Storm, you say that the people that the Black folks that are showing up holding up those signs are being paid. I know that was floated, that they were saying a lot of the folks who showed up, especially the ones, you know, first of all, I don't believe those people were strategically placed, because if there was tickets that were being sold, I don't know that we would be the ones sitting on the front row to begin with, okay? So you say they're being paid, and I believe they are. I believe that there are buses that pick up these people that want to go to these rallies. They probably put an ad in the paper, give them their assignment, and off they go. And they get what? Maybe $50, maybe $100. I believe that they are being paid for. And yes, Sharon, he is a dumb ass, but a very dangerous one. Sharon says it don't matter what color you are. If you're a Trump supporter, you are a dumbass. And you know, girl, I must agree, but I must pull out mine and call them freaking coons, because that's what they are. That is exactly what they are. To me, they are traitors. If back in the day there were Black people who were paid to infiltrate Black communities of slaves, and if they got information about them plotting to leave or plotting to do something, these people would report back to massa, which is why Harriet Tubman said, I have to kill you because you're not going to go back and report where we are and what we're doing to put all of our lives in danger. And it was called meritorious manumission, meaning they got paid to sell out their own. By the way, happy MLK Day, as we acknowledge the birth of one of the greatest men to ever be born, and who, along with so many of those who were in the civil rights movement, the ones that got the Voting Rights Act signed by Lyndon Johnson those years ago, we celebrate them. We celebrate them for their courage. We celebrate them for their bravery. We celebrate them because they spilled blood that Black people would have the right to vote. And I'd like to kick Roberts, Scalia, Alito, Shushan Boy, a.k.a. Long Dong Silver, a.k.a. Clarence Thomas, and whoever else was on the bench that gutted the Voting Rights Act. I'd like to kick him in the nuts because he's kicking America in the nuts and smiling. And people really think that this is an honorable man. He's not, I guess it's just not racist enough for him. I don't know what he's thinking, but he's thinking as a white man. He's not spent one day of his life as a Black human being. So there's, and I don't give a shit what the reasons are. He gutted the Voting Rights Act, not once, but twice. So now in 2022, my people and people who look like me are still attempting to be given what we are promised as citizens in this country. Jacami, you say, don't worry about all them, Jazzy. These are the soulless ones. They won't be here long. They're here to get the rest of us together. They do this because the Mueller report got their names in it. And I do believe that. And I know that that report, hasn't that report been released to the House so that they've been able to study that? Does anybody know certainly? Hey, Keisha. Does anybody know certainly? Hi, Twaina. Does anyone know certainly if the Mueller report has, in its unredacted form, has been released to the House of Representatives? I don't know if we can find that out, but I'm hoping that they have, because the one thing we can be happy about are the fact that I think they're a bunch of mental fucking midgets. How you think you're going to do a text or an email in the age of George Jetson? In the age, what makes you think that your information, no matter if you delete it, can't be found? So the one thing we can be glad about and be thankful for is that all the text messages and emails and all the information that the January 6th committee has found out in an investigation to give us comfort that there's absolutely enough there to kind of to close in on the organizers and the people who actually funded this insurrection. You know, there are those, especially people from Georgia, the people we have representing. I don't know where they're from. I haven't heard of these people. Say they must be in districts I don't know jack about. But there was that one that said that if you had come on that day, it was just like a bunch of families coming in and a family picnic day. So my answer to him, or my response to him, is if that's how white folks have a family outing or have a picnic, then you can call any of our riots Friday night fish fries. It's amazing to me how these people are attempting to dismiss what happened on that terrible day and not acknowledge that people died on both sides. You know, I'm not happy that anyone died during on that day at all. But anyway, I go back to Martin Luther King. I've even heard some of them try to quote Dr. King. He would not have been behind any of this bullshit. And if he were here, if John Lewis was here, if any of those, if Bayard Rustin was here, if Dr. Joseph Lowry was here, if we still had Thurgood Marshall on the bench, if we had Fannie Lou Hamer here, if we had Ida B. Wells here, if we had a Harriet Tubman or Sojourner Truth, if we had these people here, they would be telling us to not give up the fight. Okay, it looks bad, but they would be encouraging us to stand strong. Because as Johnny often says, there are more of us than there are of them. They just scream louder. We have to get out and scream louder than they do. Instead of Democrats and the media focusing on what isn't working, the message needs to be driven home about what is working. The low unemployment rates, which have been low, they've been lower since I can't remember the statistic, but it's the lowest that they've ever been in years. And yeah, perhaps the way we pulled out of Afghanistan wasn't coordinated as well as we would have liked. But what we have to understand is that the Orange Menace signed off on that day, on that with the Taliban. He made that agreement, and President Biden's hands were tied. He was hoping he could get a few more days or weeks so that they could have a more flowing kind of exit. But there was a hard date there. And the Taliban rolled in because that was the agreement they'd made with the emperor who has no clothes. I listened to Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech today. And it moved me tremendously. Oh, I don't want to cry. It is as relevant and touching now as it was when he spoke those words at the March on Washington. My mother, I'm a lifelong member of the NAACP. My mother was the secretary. There's a little debate, but she was the secretary of the first NAACP in the state of Nevada. I vote because I stand on the shoulders of giants. When you read about the people who were murdered, tortured, and murdered because they were registering people to vote, encouraging people to get out to vote, when you truly embrace the fact that you're our right to vote. Mm. was bought by blood. I just don't understand why there are black people who've never voted in their lives. And there are many. And there are many who still believe, excuse me, I want to close this curtain. Just give me a moment. Yeah, I'm back. I kind of had to get myself together. I was just so moved by those words, and I have to believe with all of my very fiber that dream lives on in us, in the descendants of those who have marched, who have picketed, who have participated in sit-ins, who have protested peacefully. And yet, even in our peaceful protests, were beaten like dogs. I just have to hold on to the thought that Dr. King's dream and the dream of those who came before him is still alive. And in the marches, there weren't just Black people in the marches. There were Jewish people, there were Italians, there were actors, there were our dear Sidney Poitier, who has transitioned, a great man, who was an activist. And I thank God for Harry Belafonte, who is still living. They were active in the movement. Many of our Black stars were active in the movement. I have to hold on to the thought that the dream lives and that it has manifested as the ones that have gone on, as they saw it manifesting. The poignant line that he lives with, that he believes that the day will come when we'll judge a person by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. Because we can see today that the last guy, the former ex-defeated, lying, cheating, stealing, juicy asshole we had as a president, has a character that stinks. He has no character. And that he's passed it on to his spawn, that he was allowed to procreate. And now we've got Elmer Thud Rhodes. I dropped a gun, shot his eye out while teaching a gun safety class. Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but if I had a teacher like him, I think I would have left the class right then and there. So now we hear the first charge of sedition. And if I understood his defense correctly, it was that they came to Washington. They had the insurrection. They came to overthrow the shadow government, but not to overthrow the government, which makes absolutely no damn sense. He might not have been at the Capitol, but he certainly had his soldiers there. When I saw those soldiers walking in formation up the stairs, I knew that had to be a calculated, well thought out plan. And what is frightening now is that we are now just getting a peek into just how serious this thing is. Now, the message for us as citizens is to hold up. First of all, I think this is the lesson we have been taught, are being taught, is that we have taken a whole lot for granted. We have taken our democracy, our freedom, the place, the country where you're allowed to dream, a country where you can actually realize your dream. And no, we're not without the ills. It's not without its ills. But now we see that we stand that if we don't fight and fight like we've never fought before, that we may never have those freedoms again. So I would encourage you, all of you light workers, Johnny, I know you're laughing. Yeah, that boy shot his fucking eye out, you know. I'm surprised it was that the bullet just got his eye. It fits shit. You know, he had to get something like scrunch. It must have bounced off something up his head, because I looked at him and a Harvard grad. Okay, we're learning more and more about these people who've graduated from these Ivy League schools and coming out. We don't know what their grades were. We just know that they attended and graduated. But it's showing us that just because you go to an Ivy League school doesn't mean that your ass is that you ain't a dumbass. You know, it doesn't mean that. So we hear the word sedition. And so for some, sometimes I turn on Fox to hear what they're talking about, because you got to know what they're talking about. But I can only take so much. And I am really looking forward to the day when Tuckums, as Joy Reid calls Tucker Carlson, I'm looking forward to the day when his ass is shut down or subpoenaed or something. It's not enough that Dominion's lawsuit against Fox for $1.2 billion has been allowed to go through. The judge just said, yeah, we going to trial on this one. That doesn't seem to be enough. So there has to be something that he does, a misstep that he will make, and that will cause Fox more money. Because if all of this is about money, when you start having to pay out all these heavy fines and having to structure settlements so that you don't go completely bankrupt, then maybe people will listen. Maybe they'll listen and change their shit. Yes, Sharon, Trump did open up. Look, I gotta lean in. Open up. He opened up. He didn't open up the eye just to all. I don't think all politicians are evil. I really don't. I look in the face of the beautiful Adam Kinzinger, a young man who came to Washington because he really wanted to make a change. He wanted to do something good for the country. And now he has become so despondent over what has happened. He says he's not going to run again. I don't think all politicians are evil. I think there are those who genuinely want to do the right thing. But what Trump managed to do, I don't even like saying his name, is that he ripped the bandage off of how evil people are, not just politicians. He opened Pandora's box and told the little folks that in the flyover states and who the only channel they can get is Fox. That's why they probably don't want broadband going through those areas. He ripped the bandage off so that, and told them, not only is it okay for you to be hateful and mean and racist and just totally fucked up because your life is going nowhere or hasn't gone anywhere or you're feeling forgotten, it's okay for you to act on those feelings too. That is the dangerous part. That now any fool can get a gun. Where used to be a rule that felons, anybody who had been involved in a violent crime, couldn't get a gun. But now anybody that wants one, they can get one. They passed it in Texas, passed that law in Texas, and Georgia's attempting to do the same thing. No permit carry. You can just show where you live and purchase a gun. Phyllis Rowan says a lot of people who attend Ivy League schools are there because of legacy. That's right. And financial contributions to the school. Absolutely. Their families graduated, or their father may have graduated from there. Their mom, somebody graduated from there. And so they're able to get into these. I mean, to think that Ted Cruz actually, golly, what a dislikable guy, Ted Cruz is like the creepy uncle that the kids stay away from at Thanksgiving. They just don't want to go near his ass. He's just, and you got to think about the wife. Girl, you allowed him to bounce up and down in you and spill seed. And he couldn't even defend you when his boss was calling you ugly. He found the ugliest picture he could of you and placed it next to Melania, who to me isn't this ravishing beauty. Put your picture next to hers and talk badly about you, and your husband crawled up right between his shitty butt cheeks where he's been resting ever since, along with Graham and Jordan. And if I guess they all line up to see who's going to put their head and nose up his butthole today. So there you have, we feel, I think we're getting some action on January 6th. I want us to remain patient because we got so used to a DOJ that was just like a sieve, and information was being leaked and pouring out every day, that we don't understand decency. We don't understand law-abiding people. We got so used to gangster shit that we just don't understand it when people are actually conducting things in a legal and lawful way. And I have to be cautiously optimistic with Merrick Garland because we don't know what was on his plate when he became head of the DOJ. We don't know. We only get a little bit of a look into what they only allows a little peek to see what he's been handed. We don't know what he's been handed in that DOJ. Yes. Johnny from Rosa Penton said, Ted Cruz is the person at the playground sniffing bicycle seats. And we can take it even further. He probably farts in his chair and then gets on his knees to smell his own farts. He's just, you look at some people and you want to find some redeeming quality. You just can't find any kind of redeeming quality with Ted Cruz. They just don't exist. They simply do not exist. We are gearing up here in Georgia because Stacey Abrams, as you all know, is running for governor. Senator Raphael Warnock is now having to run to keep his seat. He was appointed to Senator Isaacson's seat, who left because of illnesses associated with Parkinson's. So He ran against Loeffler to get that seat, and he won. So we are rallying for him and for Lucy McBath, whose son was shot. You remember the story a few years back where some teenagers pulled into a gas station and a man was there and he didn't like their music, and when they didn't turn their music down or do whatever he wanted them to do, he shot in the back of the vehicle and killed her son. Representative Lucy McBath, Representative Val Demings, Representative Katie Porter, the senator from Arizona, Mark, oh gosh, I can't remember, but he's also running to keep his seat. Oh, if only Arizona could do something with that common streetwalker, Kristen Sinema. The only difference between her and a crackhead streetwalker is she got a fancy title, because her ass is truly up for the highest bidder. And John Lewis has to be turning over in his grave when she took that picture with him claiming he was her hero. I dream every day that there will be Republicans who will come over and vote with the Democrats just to make assholes out of Sinema and Manchin, who, by the way, are receiving large donations from Republican donors. That's why they're acting asses. They're looking out for their bag. They don't care about the people. They give a shit about the constituents. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Oh, yeah, Mark Kelly. Thank you, Electra Storm. Yes, Senator Mark Kelly. Go out and make donations, no matter how small, to those that you want to see remain in federal positions, but also in your local positions. Because we got some real nutbags running for local offices here in Georgia. I mean, some crazy people. We have a guy named Jody Heiss who's running for Secretary of State to unseat Raffensperger because for once in his wretched tenure, he did something right. I really believe that Trump called them because they knew that Kemp and Raffensperger were real good cheaters. They have purged voting rolls by the hundreds of thousands. So he did something right for once in his life. And I feel that he leaked that that tape, that audio of their conversation with Trump, because his life was being threatened. It was no longer safe for him. Oh, well, we thank him because he did it, because now there's no way that anybody can say or deny that Trump wasn't trying to steal the election himself. My God. How long have I been talking about that motherfucker? Far too long, y'all. Far too long. I am excited because I have chosen the songs that I want to record, and I'm sending them over to my MD. That's the music director, the one that'll put the charts together, the one that will be over the band, the one that gets them in order and the one that keeps things tight. I got the bomb keyboard player, Tyrone Jackson. He's from New Orleans. Woo! And just a sweet and humble guy. But I mean, when he shows up and plays, it's just magic. And I like working with Tyrone because he listens to the vocal. He listens to me. If he's playing for a singer, he listens to them. And he answers by playing maybe a phrase or lick you might have sung. He's listening to you, and he'll give you an answer back on his keyboard, on his keys, with what you just sang that really touched him, I have now come up with a song that I wrote that I'm going to send over to this young man who wants to see if he can do what he calls stretching. He's going to stretch it and put it over some electronic stuff, electronic music. And I'm really, when you go to a master class, there's a guy who I guess who's a real famous electronic music person who is teaching a master class and helps you understand, I guess, the musicality of that sound and how to put it together. So I'm thinking of taking that class because, quite frankly, I don't always dig electronic music. I like the warmth of real instruments and live musicians. With a touch of the electronic. I don't like going in all the way on electronic music. And just for the record, I hate auto-tune. I hate it because auto-tune has convinced people who couldn't sing their way out of a paper bag. It's convinced them that they know how to sing. And it's a terrible sound. I just don't like auto-tune. I hate it. Twaina says Republicans have a national cheating apparatus that needs to be dismantled. They're doing things outright. But think about it. How did senators like Graham and McConnell get back in without cheating? They did cheat. They did cheat, especially Lindsey. Remember when Lindsey was up on these TV commercials and on YouTube commercials begging for us to send his wretched ass some money? And then all of a sudden, he had some money. I believe that those were the machines that they were able to flip votes on, because Lindsey was in the crapper behind Jamie Harrison. And then you had to wonder how Collins, that cow, oh my God. You notice she's gone under the radar since she told that lie. She let the rapist Kavanaugh convince her that he would never touch Roe v. Wade. You notice her ass ain't nowhere to be seen. I guess she understands. Nobody wants to hear from you, bitch. Nobody wants to hear from your ass. And also the offspring of Mr. Ed. Yeah. Also known as Marjorie Taylor Greene. My God. Talk about a science experiment that has gone awry. A horse is a horse, baby. And she looked just like her daddy, Mr. Ed. She's gone kind of quiet too. Now, what we know is she has been running around talking about don't get the vaccine because, of course, we know it was a Democratic hoax, right? That's what Zaddy was saying while he went to the hospital and got the good drugs. So all of his little followers thought that when they got ill with C-19, that they could get the good dope too. May they rest their little souls. Hold on for 1 minute, y'all. It's cold in Georgia, in Atlanta. We had Christmas time, we had degrees in the 70s, y'all. People were still out in shorts and flip-flops. Now, I wouldn't go that far, but... And then we had a snap, just as I suspected. Came right on time. And we had Atlanta's version of snow. Now, I'm going to tell you something. One flake falls, and the city is at a standstill. It's a snow day. So we had a light frosting. It was just enough to kind of coat some cars and coat the roads so that today it becomes ice. So we have to beware of black ice and all kinds of ice on the freeways. So it's cold here. You say you live in Maine, J-Lo. How you doing, love? Oh, yeah. Collins is your representative, isn't she? Girl, you know, we were putting money into the lady that ran against her, and that woman stood a good chance of becoming y'all's representative. Is she? Yes, Collins is not a senator, is she? Or is she a representative? I know what she is a lying ass. That's what she is. At any rate, her ass been there too long. She need to go home too. People like Chuck Grassley, he's talking about Mike Pence won't be there the next time that Trump takes the White House. He's 88. He better be watching out for his own ass. His ass might not be there either, and not cause he was disliked or something. He might have checked up out of here. So you need to be careful. Now, I had two dreams. I've had two dreams about this boy, Zaddy, the Orange Menace. I don't know. I can't. The names I want to call him are, I just won't do that. I just won't do that. I had one dream sometime last year where I was in a room with him and he was crying and wondering why people hated him so much. And of course, I told him, because you're a lying, cheating, thieving bastard. He didn't take my advice, though. But I do think that there are times where he does cry. But the last dream I had was about him being in a casket. And I pulled two cards. I remember one was I think it was a 10 of swords. And I got to remember what the other card was, but it was a card that indicated that that loss would come to him. I asked him if this death card was figuratively or literally. And the cards I pulled demonstrated that it was total loss for him, loss of everything, reputation, money, totally humiliated, because, that's what matters to him. No more rallies, no more crowds. Nobody was coming out to cheer for him because they'd heard it all before. And that information is going to come swiftly. So back to Merrick Garland and our DOJ, we're going to have to be patient, because in order for them to snag the ones who the kingpin, you have to cross every T and dot every I, and they have to make sure that their case is Dick Hat's band tight, so that this cat isn't able to slither out from under it and go on and live his life. Now, I do wonder how people like Bannon and all of these folks who have podcasts, who are out here talking this bullshit. J-Lo says, I'm okay. Okay, she's not worth it. No, she's not worth the vote. Why they're able to still be on their podcast spreading this poison. I know we have First Amendment rights, but that also comes with responsibility. Just because you say some shit doesn't mean somebody isn't allowed to check you. And I just wonder, I know that one of the big OANN is no longer being, they're no longer able to show themselves, I guess, on one of the cable outlets, which, boo fucking who cares? You were lying anyway. I read a story about that station, and the story, if memory recalls, I read that station was started by a Russian who had recently moved to like San Diego, California, and gotten that thing started. So here we go. Here we go. His friends, the Russians. Speaking of his friends, the Russians, let's talk about his friend, Kanye. It has been reported that Kanye has hooked up with an oligarch, a billionaire, who has promised him some kind of deal. I don't know what the deal entails, if it means that he'll build something in Russia or whatever, but he stands to earn, or to be rewarded with $10 billion, which would put him way up with the big boys, with the billionaires. And I'm thinking most certainly one of the wealthiest Black men in this country. Jesus, keep me near the cross. Now he wants to meet with Putin so that he can perform a Sunday service in Russia. Now, ever since he lost his mother, people said Kanye lost his mind when he lost his mother. And his mother was his anchor. She really did look out for him. But he seemed to have gone nut bush crazy since Kim has left him. Damn, he went all the way to the dark side. Now, last night, Jen and Johnny and Becca read on that, and they had a feeling that Kanye might actually be being used as a tool for them, that he'll be able to get some things accomplished in Russia that they themselves cannot do. Now, I just got to say, this boy, we give Kanye West a break about his mental illness. We all, for some reason, people always want to let his mental illness be the excuse for the things he does. And I'm not at all diminishing what, bipolarism or schizophrenia or any of that. But in this case, I have to say that he's playing, if this is true, he's playing a very dangerous game, because he will be dropped like a hot potato if he goes over and shows his ass in front of Vlad and starts banging on Vlad's desk the way he was banging on the desk in the Oval Office and talking about niggas. Didn't he use the word nigga? I think he did. Someone suggested to me that we need to pray for him. My prayer is that he goes to his doctor and he gets his meds again, that he sits his ass down and starts to be a good father to his children, that he lets Kim go. Them Kardashians must have teeth or something in their pussy, because the black men that get with them come out all jacked up. They just come out like somebody is taking an egg beater and just scramble their brains, and him not focusing, and him to move on. His wife is showing him, hey, Arjun, is it Argentine? How are you? They come out fucked up, dealing with them Kardashians. I don't know, but everybody wanted one, so all righty then. I worry about him because I think he's in over his head. I think he's being played by these people because they know that he's unstable, and they know that his mind is like bubble gum, and they don't know if Yeezy or Ye or Khan or whatever he's calling himself, his latest iteration, they don't know who's going to show up at the party. That boy got a flash mob going on in his head. He bought a house across the street from Kim, allegedly to be close to her children. I don't think so. That's kind of fucking creepy. And then I just heard or listened to a video someone posted about him going off because I guess this weekend was a birthday party for North and one of the other children, and he claims he wasn't invited and he didn't know where the party was being held, and so he went in a tirade about that, which has people not understanding what he's talking about. Now, T.I. and them always want to come to his aid and his rescue. I guess T.I. got his own problems, so he might be wanting to lay low. But since all of those hip-hop artists, those rappers always have his back, they need to go get their friend. T.I. and Tiny and Rick Ross and whoever else, y'all need to go get your boy and sit his ass down. And if you got to tie him down, do that. Because I worry that he is in over his motherfucking head. I worry about him. In other news, I saw a little video where an 8-year-old went over to the neighbor's house and stole a bottle of liquor and took it back to his daddy because he knew his father would be happy with that gift. I'm thinking, oh my God. This child just stole a bottle of liquor from the neighbors to give to his daddy, who is no doubt an alcoholic. Okay. Because in the video, the father didn't tell him to take it back. Okay. Woo! He probably said, "Thank you, son, but don't do that again." Lord have mercy. Lord, 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 Lord. Oh my goodness. The little boy's heart was sweet, though. He was so cute and so proud of himself because he'd managed to get away with that bottle of alcohol. Oh my God. What else do we have today? What else has happened today? Well, it's just Monday. So we got a long week ahead of us. We never know what's going to break loose in the next 5 or 10 minutes because there's always some breaking news. I'm hoping that all of you are taking care of yourself, that this first 2 weeks to you has inspired you to remember. The last time we got together, I said, write down your dreams, write down those things that you are going after, and then do the work. Once you write something down, you put your vibe on it, and you can look at it every day as a reminder of what you'd like to accomplish. In Habakkuk 2, it says, write the vision and make it plain, and that it will come, that I will run with it in its appointed time, that it will show up. But it takes work. I write down things every day. Now that I am back out singing, I have to now devote at least an hour and a half just to vocalizing, because I realized that I was depressed when all of my gigs went away in 2020, and that depression may have carried over into 2021 because it didn't feel like anything was getting off the ground for me musically. So I had to devote my time to that. I had to devote my time to the study of the songs that I am planning to record, because some of them are contemporary jazz, which is where I sit, but some of it is R&B. I love R&B, and I do sing some R&B songs. However, there's always that underlying influence of jazz, so I'm going to really have to work and just stretch myself a little bit. Now, what are y'all saying about for Yeezy? T.I. and them need to take several seats. They ain't in no position to help. They really right, because T.I. he got the women coming out the woodwork talking about what what he and Tiny had allegedly done to them. So they're probably saying, man, we got our own problems. This is some shit you have to work out for yourself. Hey, Cece. Yeah. I think they got their hands full right now. So, yeah, write down what you wish to accomplish. Be kind to yourself. If you miss, if at the end of, well, first of all, don't be discouraged. And I always go through my list at the end of beginning in September, because I become very reflective to see how close I've gotten to something and how I might not have made the goal. I might not have accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. But we can't be hard on ourselves, because you have to try. You have to at least try, because it's not too late for you to realize a dream. It really isn't. And don't ever let anyone convince you. And I want you to dream so big that it becomes scary. Dream so big that when it happens, it's because the Creator. I call him God. I call him Father, Mother God. I call him the Holy Spirit. I speak about Jesus because I believe he lived. I know that when I have been in a jam, it had to be the Holy Spirit that pulled me out of it. So I am not embarrassed to speak on those things at all. And the messages that are given to us as simply as they can be. That if you believe what you read, that you have power and dominion over all the things in the air, in the sea, underneath the sea, on the earth, beneath the earth, then you have power and dominion over your thoughts, because your thoughts are things and they are powerful. And if you speak something and put it out in the universe, that's even more powerful. Just as he says in Isaiah 55, and I paraphrase, that as the rain and snow cometh down and returneth not thither, so shall my word not return to me void, neither will your word. So be careful what you speak and prophesy into your life. And by all means, pray affirming prayers. Don't pray begging prayers. We do not have to beg the Father and the Mother for good, for our best. And pray understanding that when you trust in the Lord with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul, when you trust in that which you can, and have the faith, trusting in what you can't see, that there's going to be a process. And we thank God for the process, because we may have prayed for something that we're not quite ready for. So we're being prepared to receive the blessing. And I'm speaking to myself just as I speak to you, because it does take work. I wouldn't say that I don't have worries or concerns, or that there are times that I might have fear, but I know how to pull myself out of it too. I've learned how to get back on track. I've learned how to take my mind off the fearful thought, which is faith turned upside down, and get back on the path of trusting in that which I can't see. Trusting and knowing that every prayer is heard, and that when we have prayed a prayer, that we have there's a spiritual transaction that has occurred. And that we must be prepared to maybe position ourselves in patience, just like we have to be patient with what is going on within this government right now. We have to be patient with Merrick Garland. I want to believe the best about him. He is the man who brought down the Oklahoma City bomber, Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols. He is that guy. So we have to believe he knows what he's doing. We have to do our very best, as best you can. Keep your light shining. Keep your spirits up as best you can. We are the light workers. We are the reflection of God the Creator. We are the reflection. I watched Greg Braden. I love Greg Braden, and he has a video where he has dissected the Bible and talked about, because he's a scientist, he talks about our cell structure. Now, Dr. Bruce Lipton says that we are like 400 plus trillion points of light, that in every cell in our body, there is light. That's powerful. And what Greg Braden has done is they have taken down the elements that compose the outer layer of the cells. They have broken them down and put them into the Hebrew letters. And it means, it comes down to the word Yahweh, God within forever. I have some notes. They're over there somewhere. I didn't know I was going to go here. But that we are truly a reflection of the Creator. And it's up to us to decide to use our power. It's up to us to do and believe me, I can think some terrible thoughts about people when they piss me off. When Trump got in the office, I thought he had been I had destroyed him in a number of ways. I was angry. I mean, angry. I know for 3 of the years that he was, maybe for all of them, but I was livid because I knew that his wasn't, that he'd stolen it, that he cheated it, that he'd gotten help, that this whole, what he said, this Russia thing, we know that that's not a lie. And I mean no harm to my dear friends who are progressives, but if y'all had put your butt hurt behind you and voted for Hillary, whether you liked her or not, you don't have to like somebody. We might not be in this jam. So you need to accept your responsibility for us getting these last 4 years of hell for him directly and the continued destruction that he's just doing to this country. You need to accept that responsibility. Your part. So I would encourage you to do your best to stay in a good place. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to wake up like I woke up a few days ago and I was really feeling a little distressed, and I didn't understand where it was coming from because I hadn't gone to bed feeling that way. And even when I woke to do my prayers, it just seemed as if there was something heavy laying on me, and I didn't know what it was. But I had to talk myself out of it. I had to pray myself out of it. I had to sing myself out of it. I had to get out and take a walk and just walk my way out of it. Women, I'm sweating now. It was kind of chilly in here. I don't know, maybe I'm flashing, huh? Take some time to yourselves. We are naturally caregivers. If you're working, you answer to a boss. If you have a husband at home, you're doing things to please him, you're doing things to please the children. Please take some time out for yourselves, because you cannot run on empty. I know I've said that a number of times, and I mean that. We cannot give and give and give until we have become empty. And it's not selfish of any of us to want to take some time for ourselves. I will go to the nail spa. This is my Christmas decoration. These are Christmas balls. It's time to get them done again. That's my gift to myself, where I can sit in a chair and have somebody rub my feet and rub my legs, and we can talk and go. And now, you know, they're probably happy because they know they're going to get, you're going to pay them. But with the 3 people that take care of me, I know they really enjoy my company because I really enjoy theirs. So I do this for myself. I do this because it allows me about an hour and a half to just tune out whatever may be going on in my life, whatever may be going on around me. It's important that you take some time for yourself. So the next thing I want to announce is when I do finally get my new CD recorded, that I'm going to gift each of you with a copy of it. That's been what I've decided, that everyone that comes in the chat will get a copy of the CD, and I can guarantee you it'll be a good thing. CC Ryder, are you saying? It's timing, Jace. You got it. Write down this vision clearly, inscribe it on tablets. For the visit vision awaits an appointed time. Is that from the NIV? It means the same thing. Yeah, write it down. Thank you, Cece. And keep on writing it down. Don't just write it down 1 or 2 times and then walk away. I have notebooks for the last 5 years. I buy a pretty notebook. You can get them at Target and I put the year in and I began to write about those things that I want to do. And I know this year is going to be a great year for me. Hi Cheryl. I've decided that it's going to be a great year for me. And I know it's going to be a great one for you too. And sometimes we get really excited at the beginning of the year, and by June we burn out. No, we got to keep our enthusiasm. And we have to get out. We have certain things we must do. We must talk to as many people as we can about voting. We have to begin organizing now and strategizing now so that we're not scrambling when it's time to go to the polls. Find out if your particular representative's district has been carved up. Find out as much as you can about what's going on with your state and your local people who are running, because it begins right there. Now, the one thing women know how to do, hey, Cheryl, baby, we know how to get out and we know how to get shit done, okay? I remember Betty White making a statement that went something like this. Everybody is talking about growing a pair of balls. They need to grow a vagina because those things can take a pounding. We can squeeze out a 10-pound baby. That's power. Women can get stuff done. We can't wait around thinking some man's going to do it. We can get it done. When we set our minds to organizing, we can get it done. Now, I want to say hi, Cheryl Simpson. It's nice to see you. Actually, it's wonderful that to have all 17 of you with me right now, because I've missed you too. I really have. I've thought about coming on and thinking, well, what am I going to say? But I suppose I just come on and just see what is downloaded, see what happens. Now, I had promised that I was going to bring a friend of mine on. I love her. She is the voice behind Viola Davis and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. She's a wonderful. I have a lot of respect for her, and I admire her. She's a wonderful vocalist. And we had a conversation the other night. And I think it was distressing. Well, no, I know. The conversation distressed me because I woke up the next morning thinking of it. And I have some plans because someone is making some arrangements for me to go across the pond to make some music there. I don't want to say what the country is just yet. I'll let you know around March. But someone is laying the groundwork for me to go and take my music there. I had been invited to go with a friend to London to play a place called Ronnie Scott's, which is a real institution in the jazz world. And because of all the madness that's been going on with the virus, we weren't able to go. And I'm not certain when that is going to come up again. But anyway, I have been saying that I'm going to actually go and visit my friends in LA, but she was upset with me that I hadn't done it yet. I mean, she was angry because when I go, I may be gone for as long as I can take it, but it'll be longer than 2 weeks this particular time. And she was angry with me, and it distressed me. Not only that, but we talked about, I said to her, well, I know about 6 people who've been vaccinated, who've come down with the O form of this variant. And she said, I know about 10. And she began to speak about ivermectin. That the people she knew who had come down with the variant and had taken ivermectin were all healed and doing well. And I know that the man who created it as a dewormer for human beings is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. I know all about that. The trouble with it today is that people don't know how much of it to take, because I'm certain there are people who've gotten sick unto death by listening to folks who ain't got doctor near their name anywhere. But she was talking about that and her mistrust of the virus. And I was going to have her on to talk with some of my transsexual girlfriends and members of the LGBTQ community, particularly the LGBTQIA Black community, and the division that we have amongst ourselves. However, her opinions are so strong that I don't know if I should do it. So I'm going to speak to her again and see if she'll come on, and we can just keep it about the music. However, that conversation really disturbed me, because I wondered, like, where's my friend getting this information? I mean, I'm sure it's out there, but it was very different for me. So we'll see. I'll bring some more friends on. The good thing is that now that the venues are opening up, many of us are getting work on Fridays and Saturdays, some on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So they're kind of booked and busy, which is good. It's good for me. It's working out for me. So now let's see what I promised you: an oracle reading, and I promised you a short little song, and I plan to deliver on both of those things. But let's just see what this loving, wonderful universe has for us. Yeah, you're right. Oh, Lord. Yeah, right. Electric storm, girl. It fucked me up. It was like, I mean, planes go both ways, don't they? If I could fly to LA, couldn't they just as easily come visit me in Atlanta? It was distressing. Very much so. And there was a lot of anger and disappointment in her voice because I hadn't come to visit. So she'll get over it. But right now, we're looking for the beautiful message that our Creator, infinite wisdom, Yahweh, the giver of life, has for us. In one of the podcasts, after we'd gone off air, I pulled two cards, will and power. It was amazing. That message was willpower. The first card is the unexpected. Let us be joyful and delighted about the unexpected. Let's not immediately think that because it's unexpected that it's something negative. Let's walk in joy of expecting the wonderful gifts of the unexpected. Next one is balance. I talked about that. You can't continue to be running on empty. Make sure that you do something that encourages you, keeps your tank full. Keeps your tank full, that keeps your mind in heavenly places. that your thoughts, when you find yourself slipping a little bit, you think of something that made you laugh. You think of a hug from your child. You think of a kiss from your loved one. You think of something that brings you joy. Okay? And again, we have resilience. We are a resilient people. As the light workers, as the reflections of God, we are resilient. Women, we can take a punch and get right back up and go to swinging, windmilling again, swinging again. Understand that you might have some stuff going on in your life all around you. Thank the Creator and the Spirit within you for the process. Because just as, if you read the Bible at all, just as Joseph, whose brothers wanted to kill him, but Reuben, one of his brothers, said, no, let's don't kill him. Let's just sell him to somebody. He rose from the pit to the palace. However, that he had to go through a process. So thank the universe for taking you through the process, because we are resilient. We really are. And in all things, give thanks and gratitude. Do it all. In all things, be thankful, be grateful. Remind yourself of all the beauty that surrounds you. Be grateful that you have, in the wintertime, you're warm. In the summertime, you're cool, because there are people that would love. I have a friend who said, our nightmare is someone else's dream. There are people that would love to have what we call problems. They would love it. So we must be grateful that if we have a can of beans in the cupboard, be thankful for that can of beans, because someone didn't eat today. Be grateful that your children are safe and healthy, and that they come home to you to tell you about their day. Ask them about their day. Talk with them about what their day is about. Talk to your husband. Talk to your significant other. Let us increase our ability to embrace what we are, and that is love, the most powerful force in the universe. So we are grateful. I am grateful and thankful for the time that I have with you. I'm grateful and thankful that you would take time out of your busy day to come and spend an hour with me. I really am grateful. And what are you saying, Jakarta? Are we talking about the vaccine? The problem is Big Pharma goes after the doctors that prescribe that drug, and it's produced and its protocol. It does have a protocol. If you can take the vaccine, do so, but there are many who can't. They need something too. Absolutely. I'm not at all telling any of you what to do with your bodies, the decision you make to protect yourself. You do what is best for you. Because this is something new. I don't think that any of us ever thought we would see anything like this going on in this country. So pray for Manchin and Sinema and those that would be so selfish as to put their money and their profits over the lives of people, because you can love the hell out of someone, you know? And do I get upset with them? Yes. Am I angry that they just don't see sense because they're counting their money? Yes. But I know that the collective can be so powerful that they will change their minds. Or alternatively, it will change the minds of someone else in the Senate and in Congress. That their minds will be changed and they will actually decide to do what's best for the citizens of this country. Now, I promise you a song. It's just going to be short. I see, haven't warmed up, but I'm going to give you one. I see fields of green, rose petals too. I see a dream for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. That's what I see. So until the next time, perhaps the next Monday about this time, I'll come on. I'll be more organized. I won't be thinking about, I got to get on this book. Thank you so much for coming on. I want you to enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of your week. I love you all. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.